Film with family. Film with family. Film with family.
Hello and welcome to Film with Family, special extended family Patreon episode. My name is Austin.
And I'm Zach.
And
my name is Lester Burnham. This is my neighborhood. This is my street. This is my life. I'm 42 years old. In less than a year, I'll be dead.
And that's Lester Burnham.
Awesome.
We've got Natanya and Lester on the pod today.
Today we will be discussing the winner of the 72nd Annual Academy Awards, American Beauty from 1999.
And won some other awards too at the Oscars, right?
Yeah, it won several. We'll get into that. But first of all, before we get into it, I want to welcome our guest, returning guest, Natanya Zweifler, our aunt, reporting to us from Colorado.
Hi, you guys. Excited to be here again.
Yeah, it's nice to have you solo this time.
Yeah, thank you.
Last time it was you and Olivia for the Lady Bird episode, and now we got you in this exclusive episode. I don't know if you know this, Natanya, but you have to pay $1.99 to listen to this episode.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We're behind the paywall right now.
Okay. All right. I did not know that.
Yeah. But that just means it's going to be extra good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. I love the Lady Bird episode. I feel like we got a lot of good feedback on that one. You know, family members were like, that was a great episode. So,
and it does seem like
Hall of Fame.
When did we do that? Well, it was like kind of in the spring of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right before Olivia left for college.
Yeah.
And
she's now in college, I hear.
Yes, she is. She is in Miami.
How is that going? How have you felt since she's left? Do we have any updates there? Like, how do you feel now that you're an empty nester?
I guess I don't really feel like an empty nester yet. I saw a lot of Livy the first semester that she was gone because we had a lovely, amazing wedding that, Caleb and Alex. And then we had Parents' Day, and then we had Thanksgiving, and then we had Christmas. So I saw her quite a bit. And I think this is about the longest we haven't seen each other since Christmas. I'll be seeing her in Florida for spring break. But no, I feel, I'm busy. I don't feel empty nester at all right now. So that's good. I don't feel, I of course love her and miss her, but I don't feel empty. Put it like that.
No, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got Spud too. So
I've got Spud and I do, thank God, as much as he's the weirdest dog I've ever had, I think I would feel very differently if I did not have a living being in the house. And he definitely takes up some room. So that's, I really love having him here.
Yeah, Spud's got a lot of personality.
Yeah,
for sure.
He does.
Good replacement for Olivia.
Yeah, and he's like 72 pounds now. So I mean, he takes up room. He's got some heft to him. He's definitely another being, that I have to deal with. So
you think he's still growing? Do you think he's finished growing?
I don't know. I've been saying if you see pictures of him, his ears keep getting smaller because I think his head just keeps getting bigger, but his ears haven't caught up. So, he's definitely changed how he looks. Everybody that sees him, that hasn't seen him for a while are like, he's getting so big.
It's a big potato.
Yes, big Spud.
What else is going on in your life? How's everything in Colorado? Everything good?
Yeah, everything is good. I'm getting that house organized just for spring, cleaning up the backyard and that movie last night, which we'll talk about, but there is a lot of beauty in the world
Oh
right
yeah,
Hmm.
So
true that.
that's how I feel.
So let's talk a little bit about American Beauty. Do you remember the first time you saw it? Did you see it when it came out in the theaters in 1999?
No, I had no desire to see it. I don't remember really when I saw it. I must have been, it was many, 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 many years ago, but I got sucked in. Like it was kind of like with Natural Born Killers. I never
Hmm.
wanted to see that movie. And then I started watching it and I was like, oh my God, it's so
Oh
good.
wow. I didn't know you were a fan of Natural Born Killers.
Well, I was at that, I don't know if I would be again, but I just know when I started watching it, yeah, I thought it was great. So, um, kind of the same thing with American Beauty was just the characters whom I've kind of probably changed my focus kind of changed. I really love the what is it, Cervani?
Yeah, Mena Savari, I guess is her name.
Yeah, the blonde.
So there was something about this movie that was like kind of putting you off, like you were aware of it, and like I'm not interested in that. What about it made you not want to watch it?
I don't know. I just was as my friend from work always says that I don't want to watch anything that's very popular. He thinks I'm a whatever. I don't think that was it. I don't know. I just didn't have a big desire to see it. And then I did see it. And there are many things that I think about, I'd say the same things stick out at me now that stuck out then, like quotes and gestures. And there's just certain scenes that really just stick with you,
Absolutely.
with me anyway. Yeah.
So did you see it like in the last 10 years? You see it like recent, like
No, it would be probably more than 10 years ago. So that's why I rewatched it last night.
yeah, I don't remember when I first saw it, but it was around the time that it came out. I think I was, 13 or so, like, around early 2000, 1999. And for a long time, it was one of my favorite movies ever. Like, I loved it so much.
Yes.
Um, but I haven't watched it in a long, long time up until recently or for this podcast last week. And yeah, it's interesting how this movie has changed, especially because, of course, Kevin Spacey is in this movie,
Yeah.
who has since been, uh,
Canceled,
yeah,
become a
has,
problematic figure.
right.
Yes. I mean, I have to say that I still really, really love the performances. I wouldn't watch it again. I don't think, I don't need to see it again.
Wow. You watched it for your final time. You'll
Yeah, I
never
mean,
watch.
I don't really watch movies, much
Like
more than
rewatch him.
no.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess you could do that with Scarface or,
Mhm.
whatever, what's Casino I could see or um Goodfellas. Like I've seen those more than twice and they
Mhm.
always I always enjoy them. I don't think that I would watch this again, not for a long time. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but
Mhm.
it just kind of it felt a little predictable or something. I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah. I didn't know you're such a gangster movie fan.
Well, I love Sharon Stone and I love
Mhm.
Ray Liotta and so I don't know that I'm such a
Yeah.
gangster girl, but I definitely a mall, so to speak.
You're a
Yeah.
gangsta in
I'm
your
a
own way.
yeah, in my own way, sure.
Gangsta. Yeah. Yeah, I think the first time I saw this movie was maybe like 5 years ago. Yeah, I think I watched it with an ex because I was a big fan of this TV show 6 Feet Under, who Alan
Mhm.
Ball, who wrote this movie, like was like the main guy behind 6 Feet Under. And yeah, my ex at the time loved that show and got me into it. And I love 6 Feet Under. I thought it was one of the best shows I ever saw. And then I had to see American Beauty to see kind of where Alan Ball's origins came from. But yeah, I wasn't as into it back then as I was like 6 Feet Under. But I mean, this is an entertaining movie and it's got a lot of interesting things going on in it, but I can't say that I'm a fan, if I'm being honest, to put my take
Yeah.
out there, but I don't think it's a bad movie either. I'm like kind of
Well,
more in the middle with it.
what I thought about last night, and you just opened with that clip, is that the music's I think is it's like NPR or something where the music where it kind of makes the movie. I think it does. I just love the kind of
It's like
the
vibraphone or something. It's like doo, 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 doo.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's just a very dreamy soundtrack.
Yeah. I love the xylophone, and there are some like sweeter moments in the score too where it's just kind of piano.
Yeah.
Um the soundtrack I feel like is just as iconic as any other element of this film.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that they contrast the two of them when they're in their cars respectively. Annette Bening listening to what a like Frank Sinatra, and
Yeah.
she's just wailing it out, and then Kevin Spacey,
Rocking out to American Woman.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, those are great scenes.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a battle between his classic rock fandom and her like love of what's he call it, Lawrence Welk shit or something.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the second in our series about Oscar winners. That was the main reason we wanted to talk about this, but Oscar winners that deal with family.
Specifically Oscar Best Picture winners.
Oh, I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Oh, okay.
we're talking about best picture winners that deal with family.
Yeah, we already
And
did Parasite last month. Yeah.
Oh,
Now we're doing American Beauty.
yeah.
okay.
Going back in time.
Yeah.
And so in preparation for this talk, I actually watched the 2000 Oscars, which is all online.
You watched the whole show.
Pretty much. It's like all
Wow.
broken up into clips. I watched like an hour and a half. That's what I do on Friday night.
Yeah.
Watch Oscars from 15 years ago, or 25 years ago.
How was that?
It was interesting because it was like, okay, so this is one of the things that I want to talk about before we get too much into the movie is just how incredible of a cinematic year 1999 was. There were so many classic masterpiece films, I would say. You got American Beauty, Fight Club, Office Space, Being John Malkovich, The Matrix, all of which are dubbed these kind of cubicle movies that all kind of have the same theme going through them of white men who are trapped in a kind of dead end job and they are looking to escape in some way or like change up their lives.
Yeah, like existential crisis kind of
Hmm.
thing from the
And
Hmm.
like
drudgery.
and
Hmm.
like seek out freedom. And there's a lot of different theories as to why that is, but you have to think like this is pre 9/11. This is kind of like America at its peak almost. I mean, we weren't in any wars really. We were living it up. The economy was booming. The dot-com boom was happening. People were making tons of money. There's like not a care in the world. And I don't know. I think there's a good argument to be made that where it's just like, I mean, a lot of people were thinking about it in terms of like just being bored now. It's like, okay, so like we won. What do we do now?
Right.
Yeah, it is interesting to think about all these movies kind of coming out at the same time, tackling that same kind of issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you say you think of this as like a white male movie, and all I look at is the wives in this movie are I just
Hmm.
the misery that talk about dead end and
Yeah, particularly Allison Janney, like she doesn't even talk. She just like looks miserable the whole time,
well
Oh God.
yeah she's
like a ghost. I don't know.
yeah
Well, everyone in this movie is definitely like longing for something more, but I feel like, Edward Norton's character in Fight Club or the main character in Office Space, Neo in The Matrix. I mean, it's like all these the central character is like a white guy who
Hmm.
is trying to break free from the monotony of every day or something like that, which it's just wild that all these movies came out in the same year, and so they're all kind of centered around the same theme.
Right, right.
But so many other great movies came out this year, 1999. The Talented Mr. Ripley, which I know is another one, a movie that you love, Natanya.
Yeah, I definitely love that movie.
Yeah, we were just talking about that in
Yeah.
relation to Parasite a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah, Zach and I both saw Talented Mr. Ripley recently. When did you first see Talented Mr. Ripley? Or
I definitely didn't see it in the theater. I
mm,
just like Philip Seymour Hoffman is so great in that.
Yeah.
And this, the setting. I actually have a hard time with the end of it when he's so obviously kind of like with Saltburn, like the guy is so awful that you just kind of,
yeah, you're sick of watching
yeah,
him.
yeah, you just,
He's
yeah,
just
but
murdering people just to save his
yeah,
own
getting
skin.
away with it and just
Mm,
this wannabe, this, icky person. But so yes, I don't remember when I first saw it, but I love the setting, obviously. It's beautiful and the people are beautiful and
yeah.
it's just yeah, it's fun. It's a fun movie to watch until he starts going off the rails.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
once he kills Philip Seymour Hoffman, then it's
Yeah,
downhill from there.
it is. It truly is. Yes.
yeah. I mean, to a lesser extent, I think that movie fits into the category of like somebody trying to, kind of ditch their normal life and embrace something else. It's like,
Hmm.
Matt Damon's character is trying to be somebody who he's not. Other great movies from 1999, Eyes Wide Shut,
Hmm.
Stanley Kubrick's last film, The Sixth Sense, which was also nominated for Best Picture with American Beauty, The Blair Witch Project, which completely changed the face of horror, Magnolia,
Hmm.
Paul Thomas Anderson's masterpiece. Also, Phantom Menace, first
N-
Star Wars prequel came out.
Yeah.
The Mummy.
Oh, Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also just watched Election on your suggestion, Austin. That's another 1999 film. And
Yes.
also another movie about adult men lusting after high school blonde women. So I was
Yes.
like, oh, there's some connection with American Beauty and Election there.
Yes.
And
Totally.
who's
Some creepy stuff going
that?
on.
Alicia Silverstone or who is in that?
Reese Witherspoon.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And Matthew Broderick.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that movie. But yeah, it's got some
Yeah.
creepy stuff in there for sure.
And then we can't forget Toy Story 2 came out in 1999
Oh,
and
really?
Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Two great sequels.
Yeah. So I mean, I could go on. That's not even really scratching the surface. There are a lot more which may still come up. But yeah, I mean, just 1999 was an incredible year for the movies. And I don't know, it's pretty wild that of all of these masterpiece films, it's American Beauty that rose to the top and won the Oscar for the year of 1999 in 2000 for the 72nd annual awards.
It definitely wouldn't have been my pick.
Yeah.
You have to mention Prince for a second since you keep saying 1999. Sorry,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
going through
tonight
my
we're
head.
gonna party
Yeah,
like
it's
1999.
1999.
Great song.
How does the beginning go? It's like, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
I'd like to welcome you to this thing we call life. Lester Burnham's life.
Yeah, that should have been the end credit song for this movie. That would have been a better ending song.
Yeah, so the five movies that were nominated in 2000 were The Green Mile, The Sixth Sense, The Insider, The Cider House Rules, and American Beauty.
Hmm.
So which of those
Uh,
five would you choose?
I remember liking Cider House Rules. Wait, what was it? Cider House Rules, The Green Mile.
Sixth
Whichever one.
Sense, The Insider, and American
What
Beauty.
what's The
oh,
Insider?
Michael Mann.
yeah,
Huh.
that's
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, Russell Crowe and Pacino.
Oh, I
Not
don't
a.
think I saw it. Was it good? Was
It's
obviously
okay.
Oscar worthy.
It's about like 60 Minutes piece against Big Tobacco.
Oh,
It's like a true
okay.
story, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, obviously American Beauty won.
Yeah, I think Sixth Sense is my favorite out of those, but I haven't seen all of those.
I don't know that I really saw Sixth Sense either because it just like you mentioned the Blair Witch Project, I don't like horror movies. I
Mm-hmm.
could probably watch it now and not be scared, but I don't like,
Mm-hmm.
I generally speaking don't like horror movies. So
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
Fair enough.
No, he sees dead people.
he sure
Uh,
does.
Yeah.
that's what you would have chosen, Zach.
Yeah, I guess it's been a minute since I've seen it, but I feel like I like that movie the best out of those five.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
think American Beauty is good. I mean, I think the other two, like The Green Mile was good and Cider House Rules was good, but I don't know. I don't, they seem a little bit
Boring, safe choices or
yeah, just
Yeah.
not that they're not, I don't know. I think something should have a little bit of an edge to be, to
Yeah.
set it apart or something like that to be, considered the best. But maybe that's just a snotty response. I mean, maybe just if it's just great to watch, but I
yeah.
like something that, hits me some differently than just like that was.
Yeah. If it was up to me, The Matrix would win because I think that movie's a masterpiece. I watch that all the
Mm-hmm.
time and it's always great.
It did win a few Oscars though this year for like visual effects and sound editing, I believe. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, the effects in that movie hold up really well.
but I think of these five, I got to agree with the Academy. I think that American Beauty probably is a movie that, maybe it doesn't hold up as much this, like watching it 25 years later, but I think it's still pretty thought-provoking and I think captures the zeitgeist a little bit of that time.
You think it's the best movie of 1999?
No, but I do think that it's the best of these
Of those
five.
nominations, yeah.
Yeah. I would say the best movie of 1999 is a documentary called American Movie.
Oh yeah. I love that movie. Yeah, that movie's great.
Yeah. And also David Lynch movie called The Straight Story, which I also love. But yeah, of the like kind of cubicle movies, you gotta kind of give it to The Matrix. It's like the most thought-provoking, the most stands the test of time, I think.
So wait, The Matrix is Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it like see, I'm kind of way more getting it. I should try it because I'm now into more dystopian. I don't know if it's
Mm.
dystopian, but
Yeah, I'd say it is.
I
Kind of
Hmm.
definitely,
machines take over and
oh, is that what I have no
sci-fi.
idea what it's all about. It never
Yeah.
appealed to me, but if it's that kind of feel, I would maybe like it
Yeah.
now.
You're in for a wild ride.
Okay, hold on.
Give it a spin tonight.
Okay, okay, I'll try it.
Oh yeah.
So what are the other awards American Beauty won at the Oscars? Just to run them down. I think Spacey won, right, for Best Actor,
He did.
and it won for script as well.
Hmm.
Original screenplay, Best Director for Sam Mendes, which this is his first film,
Yeah.
and also Best Cinematography.
Hmm.
So those were the five awards it won.
Yep. So watching the Oscars yesterday, watching the 2000 Oscars, Billy Crystal was hosting,
Oh,
classic. And yeah, I don't know. I got this feeling of kind of like, man, this is what I loved about the Oscars when I was a kid. It was just like, it's Billy Crystal. It's just like, Jack Nicholson sitting in the front row. It just feels like peak Oscar kind of vibe. So we only had five nominees. I think it's a little more pared down. It just like feels a little bit more sacred or something to it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel as commercialized or something. I don't know. But
right. Well, it was like, people, even back in the, you can go further back, but just people being excited to watch an event on TV,
right.
sitting in and, just getting ready for a night of fun and looking, listening to everybody speaking and, the
Yeah.
clothes and all that, where it's really, it definitely now I think there's just so much, politics come in, and
Hmm.
people have a lot of problems with that kind of stuff. Like, the general people that used, I think, watch the Oscars wanted to
Yeah.
see it for fun.
Yeah, it seems like movies are just less the main thing in popular culture than they were back in the 90s or
Hmm.
I felt like people are just going to the movies talking about movies more back then than they are now. But I mean, I think movies are making a bit of a comeback after last year,
Oh yeah.
in terms of being in the pop culture zeitgeist with Barbie and Oppenheimer and stuff. So maybe things are turning around.
Hmm. So I wanted to play for you guys a little bit of Billy Crystal's opening monologue, just to bring you back to this time.
The year 2000.
It's a wonderful night for Oscar, Oscar, Oscar. Who will win? The 5 films nominated for Best Picture are
Okay.
Yep, it's the feel-good death row movie of the year. Green Mile is the place to be. Tom Hanks is there, but he can't pee. Then, as he walked his late-night watch, the field talked dark and the handsome guy grabbed his crotch.
Okay, so he goes through each of the nominees and sings every song. Let's just fast forward to American Beauty song.
It's like a 7-minute song.
He just turned 40, but he digs a teen. Loves to shower, never gets clean. The guy next door is a closeted Marine. That's why this beauty is a champ. There's always roses all over the floor. He gets his reefer from that nutcase kid next door. His wife's adultering and looking for more. That's why this beauty is a champ. He's now a free, fresh, high hamburger selling cat. He's lifting weights. Ooh, he's throwing plates. She fled. He's dead. It ain't a feel good, but boy, is it great. That's why this movie could win 8. It's time for Oscar to take center stage. This guy's had work done. He never shows his age. He's 72 now, but still all the rage. That's why the Oscar. That is why the Oscar. That's why Oscar is a champ.
Different times.
Definitely different times.
This is what we were dealing with back then.
We were dealing with 8-minute songs by Billy Crystal.
Well, Billy Crystal for sure is like the consummate host.
Yes.
Just the perfect blend of
Yeah.
fun and snark and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into this movie, American Beauty. How do we feel jumping into it again? Like, did any scenes stick out? Any characters?
I enjoyed it, but like the last scene with the Marine when he comes into the garage, I basically got up because I knew what was going to happen, and I just couldn't deal with it just was like, oh, it's so awful. Like he's such a mess, and it's so terrible. And I don't know why. I just didn't really want.
With the scene in the garage, when it's raining and they like
Yeah, when it's
kiss.
raining, he's clutching at him, and I just was like, I know, I think knowing what's coming. The other weird thing about watching it is that you realize, I don't remember what I thought when I first watched it, but you get a lot of insinuations like, are they gonna, are these two kids gonna kill the dad or something? Like,
Mhm.
if, when you're watching it the second time, that's not even a part of it. But I think I was thinking, what was I thinking when I first watched it? Like, this kid is really, creepy, crazy. But when you watch it a second time, he's like the sanest guy in the movie,
Yeah.
practically. And all the scenes that I loved, I still loved. I still loved Annette Bening in practically every scene. And
Yeah.
I loved when he says, I rule. And I loved when she said, there's a lot you don't know about me, mister. Those are, that line when she says that is just like, I say that all the time. I love that line. Um, and like I said, I liked the Angela character a ton this time. I don't know why.
Mhm.
I always did like her, but I just thought she was great.
Yeah, that was one thing that stuck out to me this watch was I completely forgot that this is kind of a murder mystery.
Hmm.
Um, because we start off
Wait a minute.
first scene.
It's not he's the one who did it though. It's not a mystery.
Well, it's not a mystery at the end,
Right. Okay.
but at the very beginning of the movie, he says, "In a year, I'll be dead."
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
throughout the movie, they're kind of dropping these clues as to
Right.
like obviously the very first scene is Ricky Fitz behind the camera saying, "Want me to kill him?" Um, you know, Annette Bening's character Carolyn is has a gun going to the shooting range. It's like they're just building up these like suspects.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that aspect too. That like we know that he's gonna die at the very beginning, but you just don't know
Hmm.
who's gonna do it or how it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I guess it is kind of effective. It does help you maybe pulls you along, keeps you engaged, but
See, yeah, I guess I didn't really think of it that way at all, except for like I said, the initial when Ricky Fitz says, "Do you want me to kill him?" That I think it sets a tone for that part of the story, this kid, and you're like,
Hmm.
"Wow, is he just, what's going to happen there?" But I don't really think I watched the thing thinking he's going to be dead in a year. I I didn't watch it as like who's going to kill him throughout the movie.
Hmm.
It just kind of that wasn't how I watched it.
yeah, he doesn't say that he's gets murdered. He could have just died from a heart attack.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
But no, you're
you don't
right. I
know
mean,
how he dies.
everything, yeah, we're all, kind of all these things are being dropped.
And I mean, how that end scene is shot too. They like don't reveal like purposefully who is the person behind the gun.
Hmm.
And you have that like kind of methodical showing of where everybody was when the gun went off.
Yeah, we'll be spoiling American Beauty if you're listening, folks. So if you haven't
Yeah.
watched it,
I don't think we've said who did it yet, did we?
No, we haven't.
We actually haven't.
oh,
So what
well.
did you think? What I mean, did you enjoy watching it again? Or Zach, you didn't really like it probably the first time either.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was all right. I didn't love it. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way about watching it this time. Like, I think it's a very watchable movie. Like, I'm never bored by it. Like, it keeps me engaged, but I don't know. It feels like it's like trying to be very profound, and I don't find it profound at all, really.
Uh-huh.
I think the characters are interesting, but I don't really know what the overall movie's trying to say, or I don't know, just the way it comes off at the end. That doesn't really work for me. And also just the creepiness of it kind of is a turn off and the Kevin Spaciness of it all. Even though
Hmm.
he's very well cast because,
Yeah.
he's kind of perfectly cast as a creepy guy lusting after underage people, which turns out to be very much what his personal life is.
Didn't he get cleared of all that? Didn't he not get
Yeah,
any
he did get acquitted of the charges, but yeah, it does feel like he was still
factor is still there, I have no doubt. Yeah.
yeah, there's like over like 30 allegations, so I feel like he definitely has been creepy over his lifetime.
Mhm.
To
Hmm.
what extremes we don't really know, but he's always had this kind of evil. He's always played evil kind of characters throughout his filmography, and he just has this inherent sliminess
He
to
has a
Kevin
sleaze
Spacey.
factor for
Yeah,
sure.
he's a great sleaze bag. So I think he does work well in this movie, and the fact that it tells you right at the beginning that he's gonna die kind of makes you feel like, okay, it's okay to now I know that this guy's gonna die. Like I feel less bad, or I don't know. At least I know
Hmm.
he's got a bad fate,
Yeah.
so it makes it more watchable to watch him being so creepy and
Yeah, he's got. I mean, all of his greatest roles, he's playing a villain. I mean, I feel like this one is a little bit more ambiguous than usual. Usually he's straight up the bad guy. You think like
Yeah.
Seven or The Usual Suspects.
Yeah, he is the protagonist of the movie, but
Yeah.
It's definitely really hard, the whole attraction to the girl. But I don't, in the other part, that part definitely is hard for me to watch, or like, I just don't like it. But I don't think that he's a sleazeball in the rest of his life.
Mhm.
I don't think, I think it's funny watching him just not give a shit, start to break free and not, just really not give a shit, like just realizing that he doesn't have to take certain things or be a certain way. I mean, that's what I noticed more with this. I think watching it this time was
Mhm.
like he really was miserable, and then he kind of is like, oh, I don't have to go to my job, I can quit, I can work at a, place that doesn't require anything, and I feel great. And a lot of it is like, how much weed are you guys smoking? Like, and I kept thinking like that. The kid says that it's like this crate, like a $2,000 an ounce. And, you know, of course there's a ton of beauty in the world, he's stoned the entire time. Like, don't you, like, with the kid, it's just, I'm like,
Like,
what is that
like
stuff? I want,
yeah.
it's the best weed ever.
yeah,
Yeah. Makes bags incredible.
I did feel like he is not like just pure sleaze. I think it's kind of funny watching him transform.
Yeah, it is kind of like a regression really to like his teenage self.
Yeah.
Like just like going back to working at a fast food restaurant and getting was that Firebird car? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, the
Hmm.
Like just like
Firebird and working out and just, but he's, just feeling great. Like
Hmm.
where he didn't before, like he said, he was sedated.
yeah, part of me I was like, does he really feel great or is he just like lying to himself or I don't know, it still seems like there's a lot of sadness underneath it all. I don't know.
Oh, very sure.
Yeah, agreed.
He was 40 when this movie came out. So when he shot it, he was like 39, which is weird to think because I'm almost 39. But should we summarize this movie just kind of a little bit? Like, what's American Beauty about?
Yeah, set the scene, Natanya.
To me, it's like about the the angst and misery of like a boring suburban life, which is
Yeah.
in every single character. To me, that's what it is, except for Ricky. It was almost like that kind of was a dumb line when he's going to take her away to New York, and Angela's like, you're just going to go to, New York and be with your drug dealer, friends, or and deal drugs or whatever. And he's like,
Hmm.
yeah. Like, he's such a badass because he's going to New York to be a drug dealer. That was just kind
Hmm.
of, I thought that was kind of a weak little thing there. But I do think most of it is about these people just, miserable and unhappy and not living their lives the way they want to or to their fullest, or,
Hmm.
lying to themselves or.
Right. But it all centers around Kevin Spacey's character, Lester Burnham,
And
Mhm.
his family.
and his family.
Film with family. That's
Yes.
why we're talking about it.
So centers around Lester Burnham, who's 42 years old, lives in the suburbs with his wife and his teenage daughter. He works kind of a dead end job in a cubicle. And basically, yeah, he's really bored and frustrated with his life. Basically, he has a kind of awakening when he sees his daughter's friend, who's a cheerleader, dancing at some, basketball event. And this is what kind of spurs him to quit his job and revolutionize his life. He stops caring so much about the world and his job and like the everyday mundanities of life. And yeah, he meets the neighbor who sells weed. He starts smoking weed. He kind of frees up his life in a lot of different ways, starts working out, and yeah, he's feeling great about himself. and then he's killed.
Yeah. But yeah, it also does, the movie does spend like a pretty good amount of time following the Annette Bening, the wife
Yeah,
character as well, and also the daughter Jane. Like it's not like all Kevin Spacey all the time, which I think would be pretty insufferable. Like it gives a pretty equal roles to the other characters of the family, which I think really helps round out the movie and like
right.
seeing all the different perspectives of things.
Well, and I think the Annette Bening character is my favorite character for sure.
Me too.
Yeah,
Oh my,
she's really funny.
she's so good. And I've told you that I've told Lizzie this too. I mean, I think I love her so much because she reminds me of Liz in certain ways. Just that perfect, that
Could I be any more late?
I she's funny. She's, the need for perfection,
The
um
mantras.
well, yeah, I don't really see Lizzie in that, but I mean, I don't know what it is. She's so freaking cute. I mean, I just love her gestures, and
Yeah.
uh, I love the character of
Yeah.
Annette Bening. I've always loved her. I like her look. I like her acting. I think she's just really, really fun to watch, and she's funny.
Yes.
So I do think of her as like the main one, a main character for sure. I mean, she is.
Yeah. She's nominated for an Oscar this year for
Yes.
Nyad.
Yeah, yeah, which I didn't love. And I don't like looking at her like anymore. She doesn't look.
Now that she's older.
Yeah, she hasn't retained that youthful cuteness. But
Yeah, she's been kind of cursed in the Oscar department. Like she lost this year. I think
She was nominated.
yeah, she was nominated for this role. She lost to Hilary Swank for Boy Interrupted. Or Girl Interrupted, sorry. So she lost this year, and then she lost a few years later for her role being Julia. Um, and then yeah, now she's nominated again, and she's probably gonna lose again. So poor Annette Bening, never gonna get her gold. But I think she wins the award for this movie. I think she's the MVP for sure.
I agree.
But yeah, the movie does center around Lester Burnham. He's kind of like the emotional center, I guess, of this movie. But everybody kind of, in some way or another, sort of adopts his philosophy of like trying to walk away from like the everydayness of like suburban life and bringing it back closer to home. Literally, there's a theory because when Kevin Spacey opens up his daughter's like notebook to like find where he's looking for Angela's phone number, they're all 847 and 312 numbers, which brings it back to Chicago suburbs. So this could very well be taking place in Park Ridge in the 90s when I lived there.
That's very
Wow.
interesting.
But I just want to play this one clip of Annette Bening from the I will sell this house today. That whole scene. And
Yes.
then she's trying to sell the house and I just absolutely love this scene.
You know, you could have some really fun backyard get-togethers out here.
The ad said this pool was lagoon-like. There's nothing lagoon-like about it.
Except for maybe the bugs.
There aren't even any plants out here.
What do you call this? Is this not a plant? If you have a problem with the plants, I can always call my landscape architect. Solved.
I mean, I think lagoon, I think waterfall, I think tropical. This is a cement hole.
I have some tiki torches in the garage.
I just love that. Like, what do you call this?
Solved. Yeah.
Call my landscape architect. Solved.
Yeah. Her desperation and manic energy
Yes.
brings much joy.
And at the party with the king.
Buddy the King. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And she's just like trying so hard not to be, so embarrassed about her husband.
Hmm.
Yeah. I noticed in that scene that Kevin Spacey like looks directly at the camera. Did you notice that?
Oh,
There's like a bit where it's like, oh, like you haven't noticed me, or you don't remember who I am or something, and then like they're all like laughing about it or something, and then he just like looks directly at the camera for a little bit, and I was like, it's kind of unnerving.
Hmm.
what's that? Is that called like breaking the third wall?
Fourth wall, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, kind of creeped me out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like addressing the audience in different ways. I feel like with the cinematography too, just the way that they frame certain things kind of brings you into the perspective of the different characters, like in an interesting way. Like, or even the dream sequences where like suddenly we're like kind of inside of Lester's fantasies. Like they do a good job of like kind of involving the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you like all the dream sequences? Like, do you have a favorite dream sequence?
No, because they all involve his love
Yeah.
with this girl. So I'm just like,
Yeah, they're all pretty
I don't have
creepy.
to see. I don't. I yuck, yuck.
Yeah, I forgot the iconic image of like her like lying in all the rose petals is like actually like from her like being on the ceiling.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Like I forgot that like that's like the perspective of it, and I was like, oh, that's like a cool shot that like she's like actually on the ceiling and the petals are falling down. But it is still creepy, but I mean it's a cool idea for a dreamlike shot that of like her being stuck to the ceiling.
Yeah. What is it about Angela, the character, that is it just that she's hot and like Kevin Spacey is like kind of like snapping back to his teenage self and wishes that he like wasn't old anymore, or is there something like deeper? I to me I'm just like, what is it about her that kind of like causes this awakening? Do you think it's like purely just that he like is attracted to her, or is it saying something deeper?
I don't think it's anything deeper. I think she's like the classic hot girl.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. Just when
It's
you,
just like
I
a
think,
Lolita kind of
yeah,
situation.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, because he doesn't really know anything about her. Doesn't really seem to care about like what her thoughts are, what her personality is. He just obsesses about her
yeah.
as a physical object.
I think, and there is, you have the two, the Ricky or Nikki or whatever is Fitz
Yeah,
guy,
Ricky.
so here you've got Lester lusting after her, and then the other kid is just like, you're an ordinary, he doesn't even look at her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that funny scene where Ricky's filming through the window and like Angela's like dancing in front of the window trying to attract his attention. He's just zoomed in on
Yes.
Jane, like looking at herself in the mirror. He's like, I'm not even looking at this person that's trying to
Yeah.
seduce me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want Jane.
Yeah, and I guess Mina Savari, she was very young when she did this, and she recently, I think a couple years ago, wrote a book about like her life as a young actress. And yeah, she like gave this interview where she was saying that basically like was a time backstage when like Kevin Spacey like asked to kind of like hold her like they laid in bed together and they were like facing each other and he was like holding her and it was like really awkward, but she was saying how like back then that just felt like normal to her, like that there wasn't anything weird about like an older man like lusting or like basically like taking control of her in some way.
Mhm.
um
And
so
like
it's
Spacey was like, he was like, hey, let's like prepare for our roles. Let's be intimate
yeah,
together or something.
yeah. um yeah,
Creepo.
the line is between setups, Kevin took me into a small room with a bed and we laid next to each other, me facing toward him while he held me lightly. So, I mean, this seems a little bit
Yeah.
definitely crossing the line.
Yeah.
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 Jesus.
Way, way before Me Too and all the, it just, if she had
Mhm.
complained about it back then, it just, probably even now still, but it would have been, just not taken seriously. It's kind of like
Yeah,
that's what you're in for. That's what
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
doing.
Do you feel like the like Annette Bening and like the female characters in this movie are written well? Because to me, like that was something that stuck out in this watch too, where it's like this feels like it was written by a man. Like Alan Ball like does not seem to like really have like a clear female perspective in his head, like to be able to write women characters well. Or I mean, I guess Annette Bening's character is my favorite, but I think it's because of her performance, not necessarily because of the writing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I was thinking that the Jane character felt a little empty. Like she's like kind of like the most likable, but also I don't know, there's You don't really get a sense of her character, like what she likes or what she wants to do. She's just like kind of vaguely kind of goth and kind of outsidery,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
you don't really get much of a sense of what, like, yeah, of her having much of an interior life.
Well, the irony of that is that Ricky likes her because he thinks she is so interesting, when she just seems very bland to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, she's just as bland as Angela,
Just written that way to be a typical teen that is
figuring things out.
figuring things out. Yeah, I mean, she's not, most teenage girls are not very interesting, probably.
Yeah,
Not really, when you think about it. But
Yeah, but she seems like the least fake, and I think that that's what like Ricky is attracted to because he's like kind of. I guess you could argue that he's like the most free, although
mhm.
he does lie too. Like he lies to his dad about who he is. Everybody in this movie is like putting on a mask in different ways, but I would say like Jane probably is the most like kind of herself. Like she's not like lying about anything or putting
yeah,
on airs for anybody. Maybe except that
yeah,
she wants a boob job, I
Yeah.
guess.
yeah. That's like the main, like her one thing she wants is a boob job, even though her boobs are pretty big. But
But it's just the insecure, she's just, that's like an insecure
Yeah.
young person.
Yeah. And even that is, I guess, like her like kind of showing her vulnerability, her honesty. Like it's not her like being like, oh, I'm so perfect or
Yeah.
trying to like hide the fact that she's insecure. She's just like very forthright about it.
yeah,
Yeah, but she's not my favorite. I don't particularly like her.
Hmm.
yeah. The Annette Bening character is definitely the most fully formed female character, I think, in this movie. It's got the
Hmm.
most going on. But yeah, I feel like the women characters in 6 Feet Under are really well written. So like, I don't know, maybe he gets better, or maybe just like having other writers, and it's like not just him writing. But I don't know. I think that show is great character, very well written show. But I see your point, Austin. I kind of agree with that. It's more from the male perspective.
Yeah. And Alan Ball actually, that bag scene actually happened to him. I guess he was in front of the World Trade Center and saw this bag like floating in the wind, and he was like overcome with this sense of beauty. And that is actually the origin story of this screenplay. But he did originally write it as a play. He was thinking it would be a stage play. And then I guess they asked him to turn it into a screenplay. It was shopped around a lot, and I think that Steven Spielberg was originally put on to direct it, but then he gave it to Sam Mendes.
Yeah. Didn't you send me an article that Sam Mendes is going to be making a bunch of Beatles movies?
Yes, he's going to make four Beatles movies, one on each of the Beatles.
That's crazy.
Out of control.
Are you okay with that? Are you excited for that?
I will watch all of them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But will they be good? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean each Beatles interesting in their own way. So I mean, I don't know, I'm kind of interested, but
Oh
it's a
yeah.
crazy project.
Yeah. Are there any other Sam Mendes movies that you like?
I liked Skyfall, the James Bond movie. I thought that was a
Mm.
great James Bond movie, and I remember liking Revolutionary Road,
Mm-hmm.
Leo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. I thought
I
1917 was a bit overhyped.
Yeah, I liked Road a lot. Very similar to American Beauty in a few different ways, like just like the idea of like being trapped by suburbia.
Yeah.
I really loved 1917 when I saw it in the theater. It was like I felt like I was watching like a really elaborate like video game.
Yeah, I didn't see it in theaters. Maybe that was the my mistake, but
Mhm. Before he did American Beauty, which is his debut film, he was doing Cabaret on Broadway. He did like the famous Cabaret with Alan Cumming as the MC. They also play on Broadway when he has the like the fantasy about her.
the cheerleading
Yeah.
dance. Yeah, I really like that scene. Or I don't know. I think it's this very funny little dance the cheerleading squad
Oh
does
yeah.
to the on Broadway song with their hats. and
Hmm.
I don't know, the jazz hands, and I don't know. It is very kind of an unsexy cheerleading performance, which makes him funnier that he has like this sexual epiphany to it because it's just like so kind of corny and goofy with
Yeah.
Actually, I heard that Paula Abdul choreographed that dance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Back in her heyday.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great scene.
Did you feel so yours I guess I didn't realize this was kind of like of films about families. And then you were saying that it very easily could have been, Park Ridge.
Yeah.
Do you feel, because I don't feel, I'm just grateful I didn't, however weird our family is, those scenes at the dinner tables are just
Hmm.
excruciating,
Yeah.
with the repressed, weird emotion.
Yeah.
Passive aggression
Yeah,
or
clinking
aggression.
of, the knives and forks as you eat and crunch away. But I don't, I'm glad that I don't feel like we had that kind of uh, growing up, which,
No.
Did he do the family dinner with everyone around the table, like
we
kind of
did.
thing?
We sat down and had dinner. Everybody, I mean, I probably don't remember nearly as much as my, brothers and sisters because I tend not to remember stuff very well, but definitely we sat
Well,
down
you
and
were
ate.
also the youngest.
Yeah, the youngest, but yeah, I mean, but it was nothing like that, it was just nothing like that. There was always
Much more pleasant.
not even pleasant, but just it going on. It just
Yeah.
not that weird, crazy, like at the mill, and at the Fitz's house and oh
Hmm.
gosh, just awful.
Grandpa never threw a plate against the wall.
No, but probably my mother did, but could have very easily.
The family is very dysfunctional. And all of the families, it feels like in this movie, are very dysfunctional. I feel like in terms of like family related movies, these are probably, I don't know, one of the more dysfunctional families that we've covered in the on the podcast. Um,
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
feels very siloed. I mean, kind of like the Park family in Parasite, like the rich family. That
Yeah.
they also are kind of like off in their corners, but they're not emotionally battling each other in the same way.
Yeah.
Well, I think what interestingly, there was a scene where I felt like Annette Bening, the character, was at her most kind of motherly and normal when she goes in after they have that big fight and goes in to talk to Jane, and then ends up like it's this scene where you think they're going to get together, and then she ends up slapping her. I forget what Jane says to her, but she's like, "You little bitch." And
Hmm.
so it just starts out, you think it's like this nice mother-daughter exchange that, they're going to come together. She's like, "Oh, mom." Like you never even hear her call her mom throughout the movie. And then, she's sort of semi, trying to be a nice daughter, or they're having a moment. And then I forget what she says that just triggers the character, Annette Bening character, and she slaps her and walks out of the room.
Hmm.
So, but
Yeah.
she was like the most kind of calm and, acting like a mom kind of, which she, you don't get that throughout most of the movie or any of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like Jane doesn't really talk about her mom so much, her relationship with her mom. She talks about a lot of how her dad is like psychologically harming her what
Hmm.
to Ricky, and she's more focused on like how much she hates her dad, but doesn't really talk about like how her mom is also emotionally hurtful and stuff as well. So I
Mhm.
felt that like that was like kind of a missed opportunity maybe in the writing. She just like seems more focused on the dad dynamic. But yeah, it is kind of an interesting mirror with the neighbor family because like it's like a similar family setup of like the only child and like husband and wife, but yeah, just like a son instead of a daughter for the neighbor family.
Hmm.
And just seeing how their dynamics are kind of similar but also different. Obviously, the Republican homophobe dad is a lot more physically abusive than anybody on the on the Burnham side of the family.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and there's a little bit different dynamics at play there, but yeah, both very fucked up father figures.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I'm like, is this is
Uh,
what this movie has to say about families that fathers are horrible and they'll fuck you up?
yeah, kind of. I mean, it's like, well, the Colonel is a Nazi memorabilia collector. That was kind of
Well,
a
at least
random
just one
element.
plate. He's just got one.
Yeah,
Just one
he's
is
just a little
one too
interested,
many.
just a little bit interested, dipping his toe. But you do, there are scenes. He's really abusive, but he's trying to do right by his kid because he was in a lot of trouble, in terms of drugs and, being aggressive to other kids. And you think that he in his way he's trying to protect him or whatever. But he's not a good dad in any way, shape, or form. But he does have some vulnerability that shows every once in a while. I feel like he's just trying to make sure he doesn't mess up again or something or doesn't get in trouble again. He's always watching him, just worried, that he's doing something bad.
Hmm.
I don't know, having a kid that is running wild is probably, what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the mom's like totally checked out, or I don't even know what's going on with Allison Janney in this movie.
I think she's mentally ill. I think she's definitely not all there.
It seems like she's like abused.
Do they show that, or it's just like a vibe you get?
That's just the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
She's just like afraid to talk.
Yeah, he definitely has no problem throwing a punch at his son, so
Yeah.
it beats the shit out of him just for going in his little Nazi plate cabinet. Come on, Dad. Loosen up.
Yeah, I went into this rewatch feeling like I wasn't going to enjoy it as much, but I gotta say, like, I don't think I'm as hyped up about this movie as I used to be, but I think it's still a really good movie. I think that it has a lot of complications. I like the dynamic family stories. I feel like every scene is kind of has like its iconic moments, and Annette Bening is so good. All the acting is so good. But yeah, I mean, I think it is problematic now just because it's just hard to watch Kevin Spacey like being such a creep with these women. I don't know
You don't think it was
why.
any harder to watch back in the day? I mean, I don't think, anybody would ever be comfortable watching that.
Well,
But
it's weird because when I was watching it, the Angela character was older than me, so I looked at her as like an older woman,
yeah,
like when I was a kid, and I was like, I guess could relate to Kevin Spacey more, being like, oh yeah, I'm attracted to her too.
right.
But like now that I'm older, you're like realize like how crazy and creepy that age gap is and illegal,
Yeah.
not to mention. But like, I mean, I guess he never really does anything until the end when they do almost like get together, and he puts the brakes on it because he's just like I can't.
Such a good guy. It's-
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, when I was a kid, it didn't seem as weird as it does now. I mean, that stuff definitely does not hold up. And like, yeah, now knowing that Kevin Spacey is actually kind of a bit of a pederast, it's
So,
weird
I
to
mean, I
watch it.
guess I have a thought. I don't, like I said, I don't, it always bothered me it's always uncomfortable, that kind of scenario in movies. But I don't think I watch a Kevin Spacey any differently than I do like Woody Allen. I still love Woody Allen. I don't look at, I mean, you could probably, like with Manhattan or something, and he's,
Hmm.
to me, it doesn't really take away from enjoying watching their performances, or I don't know. I still think it's the whole premise is gross, but I still think Kevin Spacey is a good bad guy and is a good actor in the movie.
Yeah.
As I still love Woody Allen too. I watch him. Oh, I love all his movies. So
Yeah, you can separate the art from the artist. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Woody Allen is a little harder to defend because it is like fully his brainchild. It's like he's acting in it, he wrote it, he directed it. It's like everything is from his perspective. So you've got a movie like Manhattan where he's like literally falling in love with like a teenager. It's like this was all his doing. And yeah, and then you see what he was really like in real life. I mean, that's really creepy. I personally can't watch Woody Allen the same way anymore. I mean, even though the comedy is still there, and the performances like Diane Keaton and Annie Hall is just one of the all-time greats. And that's the thing with films is because films are such a collaborative art that it's like really hard to like throw away a whole film with all of these different people and all the different contributions that a film has. Like to throw away the entire film because there's one person who's problematic in it is like just not really fair to the film and all the work that's gone into it, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of easier to watch him in a movie like this, as opposed to like a movie that's painting Kevin Spacey as like a great, cool guy. 'Cause that
Yeah.
feels so disingenuous, but this actually kind of speaks to him as a person. So it kind of makes sense when you're watching it, like knowing more about Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
And especially that one scene where like it almost looks like he's like receiving like a blowjob from Ricky, like through the window. It's like, oh man.
They're like, here we go. I'm uncomfortable.
It's like this feels like a real shot out of Kevin Spacey's life right here.
But yeah, I mean, I remember being pretty shocked when I first saw it when the Colonel like goes to kiss Lester because you think that he's going to kill him and like this is where he's going to meet his demise. But then when that kiss happens, you're like, oh wow, like so many people are just lying in this movie and covering up who they are or wish they were.
Yeah, and Angela's a virgin, even though she talks about having sex with so many people and has this slutty kind of image, but then she reveals that she's a virgin to Kevin Spacey. So that's like another
Hmm.
mask.
Big fat lie.
Yeah, it is also creepy to see they actually show her breasts in the movie. Like, I don't know, it just feels it makes me feel uncomfortable knowing that's like she's like playing like a high schooler and when a movie actually shows like
Yeah, I don't
what's
know if I
supposed
will.
to be a teenage character and like actually like shows their breasts on screen. Like
Yeah.
I don't that makes me feel grossed out. So I don't like that the movie did that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and also the Jane character also shows her breasts too. It's like, was this really necessary to be in the movie? I don't know.
makes me uncomfortable for sure.
I deduct points for that.
Tanya, when I mentioned this movie to my mom, the first thing she said was like, "Oh, you got to talk to Tanya." Like she loves that movie. She loves American Beauty. So like were you like for a long time are you like this is like one of my favorite movies?
No, not at all. I just love the Annette Bening character, and I love it because she reminds me a lot of Lizzie. I know
Mhm.
that's why she said that.
Yeah.
She was just there's something about her that I just watch it and I think of Liz. And so is it my favorite movie? No. But I love her character.
Yeah.
Love that character, and it has a lot to do with your mom. I don't know why. I just think she's adorable and a little nuts and everything else and just whatever. But that's why the movie always sticks out at me because there's, like I said, just a couple. She's fantastic in it,
Hmm.
and there's a couple scenes that I always remembered, like at the at the Shake Shack or whatever, and when he buys the car and he's like, "I rule," and
Hmm.
just there's a couple scenes that stick out, and then that's it. The whole thing with the young girl always bothered me. I mean, it was never something
Hmm.
that felt comfortable. But I'm a bit of a prude that way anyway. I mean, I don't like to like Zach is saying, like, why do you have to show their breasts or
Hmm.
I don't like sex in movies. I don't want to see
Hmm.
it. I don't need to see it.
Hmm.
I never like I always feel like it's a bit gratuitous. Like,
Yeah.
why are we doing this? Like, why do you have to know that?
Yeah.
So that's just me. But yeah, watching it again, like I said, I probably wouldn't. watch it again. I mean, I might like want to see a couple scenes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm
Yeah,
good on American Beauty. I think I'm
yeah,
Yeah.
putting it to rest.
yeah. Okay.
Never to return.
I'll lay it to rest with you, Zach. But it is. I don't think I watch it really any differently. The whole thing with Kevin Spacey because it always bothered me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's creepy. Anything with an age gap like that is just weird. And the whole that it's her dad and all that is just ugh.
Yeah, I think like this movie, because I was like 13 when this movie came out, 12 or 13. And like this movie and Fight Club and Office Space and The Matrix and all these movies that like I was almost a teenager, becoming a teenager, and I was like just trying to like break out of, the regular day and like kind of like the Fight Club line where it's like the things you own end up owning you, like that stuff. Like where it's like I was very wanting to embrace the chaos of life and being a free person. But
Yeah, Lester's kind of tried to have that philosophy too about like when Annette Bening's like saying about like don't spill beer on the couch, and it's
mhm.
like it's just stuff.
Yeah,
But he
right.
also is the guy who bought the fucking car, so like
Right. Yeah.
he's like also guilty of materialism,
True. True.
That's
but he's
true.
like trying to act like it's all her.
Yeah, and he's like obsessed with his looks too. Like where he's like, working out and like
Yeah, he's all about pumping iron.
yeah. What does he say? Like I'm ripping my pecs or something like that? Or like
He says some weird shit in this movie. I wrote down some of it.
What,
Well,
what did you
like
write down?
well, he talks about masturbating, and he's like, "That's right, I was choking the
Oh
bishop,
yeah.
chafing the carrot, saying hi to my monster."
You were masturbating.
I was not.
Yes, you were.
Oh, all right, so shoot me. I was whacking off. That's right, I was choking the bishop, chafing the carrot, saying hi to my monster.
That's disgusting.
That was actually pretty funny. Choking the bishop or something is how we put it. I
I've
think
never heard of choking the bishop before,
neither
or
have I,
I
but
haven't heard of any of those before. I was like, "What the fuck?"
oh,
Yeah, there's also another line I wrote down I thought was weird is was like Kevin Spacey talking to his wife and they're like he's trying to rekindle like some romance with her. And he's like, "Whatever happened to that girl who used to fake seizures at frat parties when she got bored?" Like, what the
oh
fuck?
yeah.
what the fuck is that?
It's like the weirdest line I've ever heard. It's like, who fucking does that? Fake
Yeah.
seizures.
It's so carefree.
Yeah, like that's like a cool thing she would
Yeah.
do. It's like she done it all the time. It's like, what the hell? Who wrote this shit? Apparently Alan Ball.
Alan Ball, yeah.
Alan Ball's a little freak. They also talk about the movie Reanimator in this.
Yes,
Have,
they do.
do you know that movie, Austin?
Yeah, oh yeah. Love Reanimator.
It's good.
Yes.
It's like an 80s horror movie.
You've never seen it?
No.
Oh man. You'd love it. Yeah.
I think I saw another movie by that director that I liked. But yeah, I'll check that one out.
It's like Evil Dead meets Frankenstein. Great stuff.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, also what's with the Republican dad? Like he collects his son's urine, just I guess to check that he's not doing drugs.
Yeah, I think he's just giving him drug tests, like random drug tests.
Yeah,
So weird.
to keep them on the straight and narrow.
There's just like a lot of weird details like that in this movie, which make it interesting. I guess like the specificity of it like kind of makes it feel like weirder, but also like kind of more believable because it is such like weird little specific details like that in this movie.
Hmm.
And that's like kind of what I like about 6 Feet Under too, is that like there's a lot of very specific details and like the characters and stuff. And so like I was getting some of that vibe from this movie, which keeps me interested.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but there's like all these problematic or weird things about it that don't makes me hard to really say I like this movie. But
Yeah.
I was engaged with it the whole time. It's not like I don't think it's a boring movie, which I think is the worst sin a movie can be is boring. And I can't say that this movie's boring.
Yeah.
What did you think, Aussie? I mean, like,
Yeah.
did you feel like you liked it as much as you did?
I wasn't as engaged with it. I would say there were some parts that I was a little bored with, but I think it's because I've seen it so many times. And so it's just like the movie is kind of just like imprinted in my head.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I forgot a lot about this movie. So I was kind of like rediscovering a lot of
And the
stuff.
gay couple next door is so good. They're so good. They're so funny
Scott
when,
Bakula.
yeah.
I mean, I think I was definitely cringing more than I ever have watching it. It has been a really long time since I've seen it. And I wasn't really aware that everybody turned their back on this movie kind of critically. Like it used to be like this darling from the 90s. And then, I think after all the Kevin Spacey controversy and everything, everyone just kind of was like, yuck, this movie is like very icky. But I don't know. I mean, I still think there's something to it. It's trying to do the like there's something underneath the white picket fence of suburbia, which I think is, something that's been explored in Blue Velvet and tons of other movies. So I don't think it's like
Mhm.
really like
The
breaking
Burbs,
the burbs. Yeah, I mean
which we
like
covered.
yeah, so many movies kind of do this. So I think it's like well trod ground. I don't think it's like really like saying anything new, but I don't know. I do just like the character development. I do like the way that it's paced. I like how the movie wraps up. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely come down in my estimation, but I don't know, like after watching it, and thinking about it a lot and like watching a lot of different like people's takes on it, I think there's still something to it. It's worth a watch, 25 years later. I think it's still saying something, and I think the performances are great. But yeah, I would say that some of the writing in it just feels a little cheesy now, but it's good.
It's good. It's fine. I mean, I guess probably I need to see, like probably Blue Velvet is
Hmm.
probably something that holds up better, like in terms of just being a gut punch.
Hmm.
Or The Matrix.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna try The Matrix, but you like some movies that I probably, although I did really like The Lighthouse. I know you guys like that. I love that. I saw that a
Oh
couple
yeah. Yeah, that movie rules. Oh yeah, another weird part about American Beauty is like the Ricky, like he like burns the word Jane on the lawn,
Oh yeah.
just like casually, and like
Creepo.
Yeah.
it's like I don't think I even know how he did that, or like
Well, is he a
it's like such
creep
a
or
weird thing.
is he not a creep?
Well,
I
yeah, I just think just filming people all the time is creepy
Yeah.
without their consent, just going through the window. That's like pretty undeniably creepy.
But he wasn't hiding it. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, like I said, I feel like the Ricky character is the one who's most, maybe Ricky and Jane are both the most aware of themselves and not, kind of putting up a front in any way.
yeah.
So I'm like, is he, it's not like he's hiding that he's filming her and he stops filming her. So,
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad guy necessarily, but yeah, he just does some creepy stuff, which is to be expected with someone who has fucked up parents like he does.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like we should give our final thoughts, or maybe we already did.
Yeah, I think we gave our final thoughts. I mean, is there anything else you want to add that we haven't talked about yet?
no, I just think if you're doing films about family, I'm glad I'm not from any of those families. And yeah,
Yeah,
that's
this
that.
definitely a look at how family can be a toxic environment, I would say, or I don't know. It can definitely shows the negative sides of things, but I guess there are some room for some beautiful moments in there. I guess that's what the ending monologue is speaking to, is like the beauty in life, but
Yeah.
it also shows a lot of the scary negative things as well. So,
Yeah.
you got to take the good with the bad, I guess this movie's trying to say.
Yeah, I'd say yeah, the movie is in terms of family, it's about how family can be constraining, but in the end, it's all you got. That's the final scene where he's looking at the photo of his family and he's just saying, "Man, oh man, what a life I've lived." It's like still his like he feels like it's his biggest achievement.
Yeah, like that's what matters. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Natanya, on this special extended family episode to talk about your favorite movie of all time, American Beauty.
Which
Yeah.
apparently It's not my all-time favorite,
Yeah.
but it's worth a look and a listen. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
definitely an
loved it.
interesting film. It's great to dig into it with you. It was a interesting conversation, and
No,
it's always great to see you.
great to see you. Love you guys.
All right, love you
Love
too.
you.
Thank you to our listeners for listening to this Patreon episode. Thank you to our Patreon members.
Yeah, thanks
Uh,
for supporting us with your dollars and your ears.
Yep. And you know where to find us. And next week's episode will be
Or well, yeah, next month for the Patreon feed will be Rain Man.
yeah, but next week on the main feed, I believe, is our Toy Story episode.
With Alicia and
Mhm.
Amory.
Yeah.
So, yeah, check that out on the main feed. We love the movies.
And we love our family. Thanks, Natanya.
Bye. Love you guys.
All right.
Bye. Say hi to Spud.
I will.
All right. Bye-bye.